I may have manipulated the market. The most trending comics in the world, and at the list at number 10, Jim Lee, X-Men, number 11. This book is a repeat offender, hitting $20 average sales, 111 for a CGC 9.8, and that's just this month. Deadpool Wolverine spec is on high. Wolverine covers and Jim Lee covers have been selling aggressively, but he's doing Baltimore Comic-Con. He's doing New York City Comic-Con. CGC is going to be doing grading in-house. And not only that, they have their signature series program as well as their authenticating program, which means that it's going to be a lot easier to get your SIGs. I suspect that's influencing this book's sales because it's up 111% week over week. Keep an eye out for Wolverine 24, also on the Trending 20, the larger list we source these 10 books from every single week on Key Collector Comics.
CGC and James Spence Authentication doing walkthrough at Baltimore Comic-Con. Oh my God, use code TOM101 to get 2 free weeks of the Key Collector apps so you can get all your books ready for con.
Yo, interrupting this video really quick to tell you about something really cool I'm doing. This Thursday, September 12th, I've teamed up with Whatnot, who has teamed up with Marvel, officially made their first product together, a comic trading card pack, similar to like a booster pack in the card industry. But instead of cards on the inside, we have comic books, celebrating one of my favorite shows to come out this year, X-Men 97. Take a look at these packs. They are so gorgeous in person. You're going to love them. And each contain 3 variant covers that feature X-Men 97 issue number 1. Variants by hit artists such as Ariel Olivetti, Salvador La Roca, Steven Segovia, as well as Deadpool co-creator Rob Liefeld. This is the first of its kind. 3,000 of these packs were produced by Whatnot and Marvel, and there are 16 different variants that you can get with chase variants that are super low print. The gold foils are the ones you're hunting for, and if you get lucky, you may get one of these that comes signed. Join me this Thursday, and I'm going to not only have these packs, I'm going to be giving them all away. Over 20 packs will be gifted. And if you use my code, you get a free $15 credit you can use on your first purchase. So you can come by, possibly win one of these packs, and you can get something for free. Because I'll list some stuff in the Buy It Now for $15 so you can use that credit. Link in the description, and let's get back to the video.
I'm happy to see this book here at number 9. We've got Avengers vs. Aliens, issue number 1, which just came out last week. We're seeing $8 average sales, which is cover price. Unfortunately, this is a very expensive book. We have a 155% increase in copies sold on this badass idea for a book written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Isad Ribic. I haven't gotten to this book, so even though it is super expensive, it's supposed to be super good, and Jonathan Hickman has kind of been on a roll lately, so I'm very excited to get to this one on my pull list. There's a lot of really cool covers for this book featuring John Tyler Christopher. He's got a cool homage to Alien Resurrection. There's a Scotty Young variant, there's a Zoo Orzu variant, but the Mark Brooks variant is also actually featured on the Trending 20 this week.
You can pick up the 1 in 100 Mark Brooks, which is your favorite, and I recommend Black Panther versus Predator. That came out a couple weeks ago if you like what's going on right now with the Avengers. And if you want to go back to last year, you got Wolverine going up against Predator. Great read.
Number 8 on the list, Wonder Woman number 800. Another one selling at cover price, but this one only $6. We're also reporting on a CGC 9.8 for $62. Now, why would this book be on the list this week, and why would we have a 375% increase in copies sold? Well, we have a Trinity World's Finest one-shot, which actually collects all of these great Trinity stories. So Wonder Woman 800 is the first appearance of Trinity and the first appearance of the Lasso of Lies and the cameo appearance of the Sovereign. All of a sudden, we've got this one-shot that collects every single one of the Trinity short stories that have been at the end of the Wonder Woman stories. Tom King's been cooking and doing a great job with this one. This is a character to look after and a great buy-in at only $6.
There's a 1 in 25 Chrissy Zulo variant that takes you through the different versions of the character as she ages through the pages of this book. Keep an eye out on Wonder Woman. Keep an eye out on Tom King. I want to see him write way more humor in his comic books.
Tom King gets a bad rap, but his Wonder Woman run is probably my favorite book right now over at DC Comics. You definitely need to check it out, especially even if it's just for these backups.
Number 7 on the list is Fantastic Four 244 from 1982. This book is seeing $40 average sales, $281 for a CGC 9.8. This book hit heights of $1550 when the rumors started circulating, and that's at a 9.8, that there was going to be a female Silver Surfer introduced into the MCU before Norrin Rad. And we got confirmation that that's the case, but we also seemingly have confirmation that the female Herald is going to be Shatilov, not this character, who's the first Nova. Not Nova that you're probably thinking, but a different Nova. I digress because this book is up 380%. Similar to other Heralds of Galactus. We've just got done talking about one last week.
Terex the Tamer made the list just last week.
Terex makes sense if they're going to showcase other Heralds of Galactus. It could be just a flash in the pan during the movie, but if there's going to be a show on Disney Plus, I can see this character getting their own spotlight, maybe their own episode, or being prevalent throughout a series, just like Frankie Ray could be. So it makes sense to see this book spike 380%. But also, Frankie Ray is the girlfriend of Johnny Storm. So this spec on the Herald may completely be off, and she just may be in the movie.
We are cruising right now. We're here at number 6, Iron Man number 118. This is the first appearance of James Rhodes, Rhodey, who later becomes the War Machine. We got $55 average sales on this book and a 9.8 hit $550 just back in May. There's a 500% increase in copies sold of this book, and we've also seen other War Machine-related books on the list recently. My best guess is because War Machine is featured in the Fortnite video game as a skin that you can get, and it makes sense because that game involves a lot of shooting at people, and War Machine is pretty badass and covered in guns.
I'm not getting my hopes up on this one, but Armor Wars is supposedly still happening. Like, they're going to start production next year, early 2025. It could be good spec. I think this book, beyond what is coming next year or in a show or in Fortnite, has way more opportunity than people actually understand, because when you look at the census on a key first appearance character from 1979, there's a total of 109 copies graded at a 9.8. A little over 1,000 in total across all grades. Not a lot of people grade this comic book, and it only comes up at a 9.8 3 to 5 times a year. This book you can get at average, as reported, for $55 on the high. If you can find yourself a raw 9.8 potential copy, you're looking at a 10 to 15x markup on a book that people are not buying and grading. And if they are buying it, we're saying they're buying it because of Fortnite. How is it in 7 years we never did an explicit plug on our book?
So I got a little bit jealous. I saw the last Hot 10 video that Tom did with the Golden Age Guru, and they were talking about this book that's going in the mystery mail call. This is Wolverine Revenge #1, the Red Band edition. It's explicit, so explicit that it comes in a polybag, and if you open it, you're kind of taking the risk yourself to experience whatever sort of explicit is in this book.
I'm so excited about this book, and you need to go sign up for the mail call right now, guys. Make it happen.
ComicTom101.com, John Boy Myers in every single box, and it's selling for what the box costs, if not more, by itself. Number 5 on the list. I think this is probably one of the most interesting but also appealing specs post Deadpool Wolverine. We have NYX number 3, the first appearance of Laura Kinney, X-23.
In the aftermath of the Deadpool Wolverine movie, we are still talking about one of the most exciting characters. $450 average sales and $1,000 for a CGC 9.8. The fact that this is less than half of what the peak was, $2,261 for a 9.8, it's still crazy, but this is one of those characters that we have talked about as a long-term spec potential. It's a 200% increase in copies sold this week, and I think it's still going to pick up traction. A character like Miles Morales spiked. We saw him in 2 movies, and his book was at an absolute high of about $4,000 for an Ultimate Fallout 4 9.8, and now is in the $1,000 range. This book being in the $1,000 range and her not having been seen in a movie for over a decade really shows how much staying power this character has, and I think there is way more room for this book in the long term.
A drop of 50% may sound aggressive, but there are so many books throughout the last 5 years that have 60, 70% drops from that 9.8 just because of the fall from the comic boom, but also the massive increase in census count. This book, however, didn't ever really get that push. And I think it's because she's only been in 1 movie, prior to Deadpool Wolverine, of course, and who was really specking on her integration to the MCU when they haven't even integrated mutants beyond Scarlet Witch.
We've been talking a lot about Gambit and Channing Tatum's Gambit and how much he's excited to play that role moving forward, hopefully. But Daphne Keane is pretty much doing the same thing here with Laura Kinney. She's actually given multiple quotes in recent interviews, most recently as this week with Empire. She says, "I would 100% do this for the rest of my life. She's such a fun character to play. Emotionally, she's so demanding physically, which is something I love doing. I'd kill to do it again."
Seemingly not part of the Star Wars mythos anymore with the cancellation of the Acolyte. I don't even know what happened to her because I didn't really watch that show. doesn't really matter because she's got more time and clearly knows the character she really wants to play.
Number 4 on the list is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 36 from all the way back in 2001. We're seeing $85 average sales on this and a 9.8 hit a pretty high sale of $359 earlier this month, like just this week.
It's a 500% increase in copies sold, and that is the highest this book has sold for all year long. And I love this key book. It belongs in every Spider-Man's PC, but also it transcends what people collect this book for. There's a lot of historical meaning behind it, and that black cover is super tough and high grade, and people use it for a lot of different things, from sketches, signatures, and all the above.
This is a high-demand book and obviously commemorating a massive tragedy in America's history, but people need to keep in mind that if you want to be speccing and collecting smart and geeking responsibly, this is the type of thing that you need to be prepared for. When do you buy Halloween books? In October. Remember the 5th of November. This is when we start seeing V for Vendetta books go. Well, it's an unfortunate anniversary, but always around September, we start to see this book, the September 11th commemorative book, start to sell. If you look and see what a 9.8 went for earlier this year, there was a sale under $100 and a sale just a few months ago for only about $150. So someone definitely paid a lot of money for this book because of its significance. But if you want to find the right times to buy and the right times to sell, watch these patterns. The last time we talked about this book was September 20th, 2022. So 2 years ago, it made the trending 10 list again for the exact same reason.
It's like when you go into the grocery store and buy all your Halloween candy the week after Halloween when they dump it all and put it on sale. You know, it's the same principle, but for comic books.
Which brings us to number 3 on the list with a book that I may have manipulated the market on. Yes, I know they hate it when it happens, but when a book is selling for too cheap, and I say that, I would be interested in buying it and committing. We have a hot book on our hands. Number 3 on the list is Deadpool Secret Wars, issue number 2, the first cover appearance of Gwenpool. This book is going for $95 average sales and just sold for $230 for a CGC 9.8. This was a plus $450 9.8 for such a long time. It's a tough book to find in high grade. It's a variant cover, and I still think there's opportunity.
All right. Before you guys grab your pitchforks and torches, don't come down to the studio and get Tom all mad, because last week we were talking about Howard the Duck #1, which is the first appearance of Gwenpool. This is the first cover appearance of Gwenpool, and Tom and I mentioned that we think this book is undervalued. And very clearly, 367% increase in copies sold this week. A lot of you guys do too.
Good clarification, Russ, because last week, Howard the Duck 1, first in-store appearance of Gwenpool, made the list because of Fortnite and the skin you can acquire after doing a bunch of stuff in Fortnite, but also her being introduced into the game. Same reason why we saw War Machine on this list last week and this week as well, which brings us to number 2 on the list with Spider-Man #7, the first appearance of Spider-Boy, because of an announcement that was made months ago by Marvel about a comic coming out very soon that you can still order.
We'll get into that upcoming book here in just a second, but for Spider-Man #7, we've got $20 average sales with an $88 CGC 9.8 earlier this week. Spider-Man #7 is, of course, the first appearance of Spider-Boy Bailey Briggs, who is definitely one of the hottest characters to be introduced over at Marvel last year. We've been talking a lot about Helverine lately, but don't forget Spider-Boy is another red-hot, brand-new character who just debuted. Now, back at San Diego Comic-Con, we had a tease of an upcoming new character, Spider-Girl, who would be appearing in the upcoming issue of Spider-Boy #12, which comes out next month in October. You can still pre-order Spider-Boy #12, actually. The final order cutoff is this month, September 22nd. So if you want this book, you still have time to let your local comic shop know. It seems like it's going to be a cool character. You've got the main cover just features Spider-Boy and Daredevil on the front, but if you look at this Mark Bagley variant or the Michael Cho variant, both of those actually have Spider-Girl on the cover.
Ellie Camacho, Deadpool's daughter, taking on the Deadpool mantle very soon. This is happening with other characters, and clearly they're trying to go for this next-gen vibe. Do you think Spider-Girl will perform as well as Spider-Boy did? Are you adding this to your pull list? Let us know in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button. We're here every single week talking about the most trending comics in the world. And #1 on the list. Whew! I am so surprised to see this book here. This is probably the longest term spec that we've covered on the history of not just this video, but this channel.
This is absolutely incredible for a book that came out in 2016, but Tom and I first talked about the spec on this book back in 2019. So it's been 5 years, and here we go. Back on the list, 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank. Number 1, $15 average sales and $80 for a CGC 9.8.
We're seeing a 2,100% increase in copies sold on this book compared to last week, before they announced that there was going to be a movie adaptation of this book, headlined by Liam Neeson, but featuring a bunch of other characters, because like the title suggests, there are at least 4 kids who walk into a bank in this story. I want to give a shout out to Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss, the creative team behind this book. I did not get to this book when it first came out, but I am currently reading their current series, What's the Furthest Place from Here? Tom and I actually covered it on the show a couple years ago. And also shout out to Matthew Rosenberg's podcast, Ideas Don't Bleed. If you're a comic fan, you got to check that one out.
What's the Furthest Place from Here is easily the funnest book to read alongside of the music that they prepare for that comic to experience while you enjoy the narrative. Pick that book up. You're going to love it. And this comic book has had so many ebbs and flows. Option news, the trading of the script, producers. We got little bits and pieces here or there, but it's a good reminder that some titles just take time to hit the big screen. And not all of them are going to do it. How often do we talk about option titles? And this one, it's actually kind of nice to see a big actor get attached to it with such a strong creative team, because it also provides a lot of confidence to other books that I think a lot of people may poo-poo if they don't see updates within the first 12 months. If anything, it teaches you a lot about timing as it pertains to speculation.
This is a big reminder that even when something is optioned, it doesn't mean it's in production. So it's great to see something after such a long wait back on this list.
And as always,
geek responsibly.
Enough said.